Here's something worth thinking about. 3 servants were handed money to manage while their master was away. 2 of them took a risk with it, and they were praised for it. 1 of them played it safe. And playing it safe is the one thing that got him thrown out. If you've ever told yourself that caution and wisdom are the same thing, this one's for you. Here's where it clicks. The story is in Matthew, chapter 25, verses 14 through 30. A man is going on a journey. Before he leaves, he calls 3 of his servants and hands them his property to manage while he's gone. He doesn't give them all the same amount. 1 gets 5 talents. 1 gets 2. 1 gets 1. To each according to his own ability. That line matters more than it sounds like it does. This was never a test of who could produce the most. It was a test of what each of them would do with what they'd actually been given. The first servant takes his 5 talents and goes straight to work, trading, risking, putting it back into motion. By the time the master comes home, he's turned 5 into 10. The second does the same thing with less. 2 becomes 4. Then there's the third. He takes his 1 talent, and he goes and digs a hole in the ground, and buries it. Now, on the surface, that sounds responsible. He didn't lose it. He didn't waste it. He didn't gamble it away on something reckless. He kept it safe, exactly where he could hand it right back, untouched, the moment the master returned. That's the popular reading of this parable, that the third servant was simply the cautious one. Careful, conservative, maybe even the wise one, next to 2 guys out there taking risks with someone else's money. But read what he actually says when the master gets back. "Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground." Look at that sentence again. So I was afraid. Not so I was wise. Not so I was careful. He names it himself. This was never caution. It was fear wearing caution's clothes. And the master doesn't call him careful either. He calls him wicked and slothful, and then says something that should stop you cold. "You ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest." He's not even asking for the outsized return the other 2 got. He's saying, you didn't even have to risk it yourself. You could have done the smallest, safest thing that still put it to work, and you didn't do that either. You did nothing, and you called it wisdom. Here's what makes this parable so uncomfortable if you actually sit with it. The servant wasn't punished for failing. He was punished for never trying. The 2 who risked their talents could have lost everything. The story doesn't even entertain that possibility, because that's not the point being made. The point is what fear does when it's left to run the decision. It doesn't just make you cautious. It makes you bury the thing you were actually trusted with. And whether that's a gift you've been sitting on, or a calling you keep talking yourself out of, or a relationship you won't risk being honest in, fear rarely announces itself as fear. It shows up dressed as prudence, as just being realistic, as waiting for the right time. The master's response to the other 2 wasn't, "Well done, you didn't lose anything." It was, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your master." Faithfulness, in this story, isn't the absence of risk. It's what risk looks like when you actually trust the one who gave you something in the first place. So the pattern underneath all of it is this. It's not what you were given that gets measured. It's what you did with it while you had the chance. And that's personal, whether we like it or not, because most of us aren't burying 5 talents. We're sitting on 1. 1 idea. 1 gift. 1 conversation we keep putting off. And we call it patience, when if we're honest with ourselves, we know exactly what it actually is. If this made you want to look a little closer at what you might be burying, subscribe, new reflections every week. Because in the end, the ground was never a safe place to keep something that was only ever meant to move. Think about it.